Raqqa has been one of the main targets of coalition airstrikes. The city is touted by ISIS as the almost utopian capital of the caliphate it's creating. Tonight, though, we speak to refugees who fled the city, who say the reality is completely different.
At first, people thought that ISIS was the savior, but within a month, everything changed. You can see a beheaded corpse at every other street corner.
The eastern city, believed to have a population of around 400,000, was the first provincial capital to fall to initially moderate rebel forces before ISIS took it over from them in late 2013. They've turned the city's landmarks into symbols of brutality. The once bustling plaza around the clock tower is now the scene of public executions. Roundabouts are at times filled with the decapitated heads of opponents. And churches like this one have been taken over. The city has also been pounded by airstrikes, by Assad, by the Western-led coalition, and most recently by the Russians. Refugees who fled the city in the last few weeks sent us videos describing their experiences. They've had to hide their identities.
The coalition only bombed ISIS, whereas the Russians mainly targeted civilians.
We were really scared. We wouldn't leave the house. We would pray before we slept. We knew we could die at any time.
ISIS hid in underground shelters with their families. A few went to places like Palmyra, but others stayed in Raqqa.
ISIS have trumpeted their medical and education facilities, but the refugees say ISIS isn't even providing them with the basics.
Electricity and water were only available 2 hours a day when the FSA was in power. But once ISIS took control, we only got half an hour of electricity a day and water every couple of days.
Food is really expensive, and you have to wait at the bakery all day just to get a loaf of bread. It drains your energy completely.
ISIS control large parts of the east of Syria around Raqqa. But Kurdish and moderate Syrian rebels have been advancing in the north, taking Tel Abyad earlier this year. They now control Ain Issa, 30 miles north of Raqqa, and there are rumours of a planned assault on Raqqa. But Kurdish forces have been accused of atrocities against local Arabs and are unlikely to be welcomed in the city.
The Kurds are as bad as ISIS. We're between a rock and a hard place.
As pressure increases on ISIS, they have stepped up their control of the city. We were told it's now much harder to leave Raqqa, and hardly anyone can use the internet. How ISIS rule their capital could prove their undoing, but no one knows who will replace them.